So as you probably know, Disney's in a bit of a rough spot these days. The COVID-19 pandemic has basically shut down most of the company's revenue streams. Movie theaters are closed. Studio production is suspended. Theme parks are shut down and shrouded in reopening controversy. The Broadway and stage play world is paused. Cruise ships are toxic. Sports are barely ready to open and won't have audiences for a while, leaving ESPN without live events. And it's all set to get worse. As case numbers grow in the United States, large gatherings of people will be banned for quite a while. That's bad news for a company built around large gatherings of people. Now, for its part, Disney is betting on things going back to normal. Their reasoning is, people will miss the experience of seeing a movie or going to Disneyland. Bob Iger said as much in a recent investor briefing. I can see where he's coming from. There will come a time when people will return to their normal routine. The problem is, we don't know when normal will come back. It could be 6 months. It could be a year. It could be more than a year. It depends on when the vaccine is developed and when customers feel like spending again. The reality is, Disney is probably going to end up losing billions in revenue this summer. It's kind of surprising, given that the company was at its peak just a few months ago. I knew all those Monopoly articles were trash last year, but I digress. Disney is hurting, and it doesn't have a clear plan to get itself out. I've seen dozens of articles spelling out a dark future for the company. Being a Disney-focused channel, I'm not counting it out just yet. There's a way out of this crisis. According to Carmen Higginbotham, a Disney professor at the University of Virginia, Disney has to figure out how to make itself matter, how to get in front of audiences in very different ways than it has in the past. So how can Disney get in front of audiences now? With more people staying home, the obvious answer is TV. But ABC is facing suspended production, and ESPN is facing postponed sports leagues. So the actual answer is streaming. More specifically, Disney+. Disney knows streaming is their best bet at the moment. It stands to reason that the more people use Disney+, the more Disney stays in front of audiences. It's why they released Hamilton like a year early. Disney+ is how Disney will stay relevant and how they'll beat this pandemic. I think we can all agree how fortunate Disney is to have a streaming platform these days. It's easily their most innovative venture in decades, with 50 million subscribers to show for it. But there's more to it than getting a lot of subscribers. Even at 50 million subs, Disney Plus only makes up a small amount of Disney's revenue. Plus, no matter how much a subscriber uses Disney Plus, they still pay the same fee. So money is clearly not the main objective with this streaming platform. See, the company never intended for Disney Plus to be a moneymaker. Theme parks and merchandise are Disney's main moneymakers. The real purpose of Disney Plus, on the other hand, is brand exposure. The real performance indicator is not subscribers, but watch time. Families everywhere are streaming Disney's shows and movies during these lockdowns. From the little girls watching Frozen to the men watching The Mandalorian, people are consuming more Disney content than ever, which will lead to more demand for theme parks, movies, and merchandise. The idea is, watching Disney's productions will lead to buying merchandise of characters, for example, or seeing those characters in the theme parks, or watching them in movies. This old map does a good job of explaining it. All the Disney divisions connect to each other, feed off each other. Disney Plus is simply another entry point, and as it happens, the only viable one today. It's also the most convenient way to get in front of millions of people. The irony of all this is that Disney Plus's success is a result of the same pandemic wrecking the movies and theme parks. That's why this is the absolute best time for Disney Plus to be a thing. There will never be a better time to stream than during self-isolation/quarantine. Think about it. Most content Disney has ever produced is on Disney+. Add the Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar content, and you have a platform with long staying power. That said, it's not enough to just have a streaming platform with a steady audience. Disney needs more content throughout this pandemic, and to their credit, they have a lot in the pipeline already. Now, when I say a lot, I don't mean trash like Artemis Fowl. I mean quality originals made specifically for streaming, like the MCU series, and Star Wars, and Monsters, Inc. You get the idea. But compared to what Netflix and HBO Max are cranking out, Disney Plus faces a risk of slowing down. They're just not at the point where they're releasing popular content on a regular basis. Now, it's not like this is all their fault. It's not like they can just speed up production of their upcoming shows and movies. But they can add existing content. Hamilton doesn't come to mind when you think of Disney, but so far it's been a massive success on the platform. As a matter of fact, app downloads went up 74% after release. I'm willing to bet most of those Hamilton downloads weren't die-hard Disney fans like myself, but they were Hamilton fans, i.e., a different demographic than Disney usually engages with. Disney CEO Bob Chapek even had a private meeting about this. It's the strategy Disney should take over the next year, adding content with broad appeal to Disney+. The proof is in the pudding. Hamilton's a pretty big deal right now. It's all over social media and opinion articles. It helps that it was released during the George Floyd protests, so it does have some social context. But that doesn't mean this has to be a one-time thing. By acquiring more properties similar to Hamilton, Disney can get more people on Disney Plus and avoid being seen as irrelevant during these times. And when I say similar to Hamilton, I don't mean it has to be a musical. I just mean it has to bring people on who wouldn't normally subscribe to a Disney service. Considering Disney just bought 20th Century Fox, that studio seems like an obvious place to look. However, a lot of Fox content isn't exactly family-friendly. Then again, Hamilton isn't exactly a kid's play either. I suspect Disney will stretch the boundaries of what is appropriate for Disney Plus as the pandemic stretches on. Like, if The Simpsons made the cut, I don't see why Futurama can't. Alright, that would be a big launch. Even beyond Fox, though, Disney has a lot more content in its vault, specifically from ABC. They have Golden Girls, Roseanne, Home Improvement would be a big one. Yeah, all I can think of is sitcoms for some reason. But there's a lot more that aren't coming into my head right now. My imagination's a bit sore today, I guess. Anyway, my point is, Disney has to throw more content on Disney Plus if it wants to grow its audience. But thanks to the subscriber base it has already, Disney's in a good position. Well, that's relative. Compared to January, they're doing horribly. Without Disney Plus, it would be even worse though. For now, Disney doesn't have much hope of going back to normal, however much they pretend they will. But eventually, Disneyland will be full again. People will return to theaters, and consumers will buy merchandise, and the demand for all that will be kept up by Disney+. As you can see, it's how Disney has always operated. Well, that's all I have to say about that. I think Disney will survive this pandemic. They'll be heavily damaged, but Disney Plus will see them through. But I'd like to hear what you have to say. Leave a comment below, and subscribe for more Disney videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.